Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz here with another episode of Dave's Faves. And today we're talking about that household name, Ildelbrando Pizzetti. Who, you might well ask? Yes, Ildelbrando Hildebrand Pizzetti. His dates were 1880 to 1968. He had quite a long life. He was one of those composers who was part of the post-operatic generation in the early 20th century in Italian music. And you know who they were. They were Casella and Malipiero and Pizzetti and Respighi. Remember Respighi? He's the most famous of the batch. And they were really talented. They were a very, very good group. They were well trained. They wrote lots of colorful, beautiful music. We're going to have to do like a whole series on Casella. He was probably the best of the bunch. Ghedini was another one. There was a bunch of them. And also a lot of conductors who composed. Victor de Sabata, for example, he composed. He wasn't very good, but he was one of that crew. He was definitely one of that crew, and just lots and lots of fun. So Pizzetti wrote some really beautiful music, and it's right here on this gorgeous BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra disc conducted by Osmo Vänskä on Hyperion. And wow, there's some great stuff in here. I mean, you will really, really enjoy this disc if you haven't heard it already. You get his Rondò Veneziano, which is this big 23-minute long symphonic poem. That's just marvelous. And then you get Prelude altro giorno, which is this 11-minute long prelude thing. And you get the incidental music to La Pisanella, which is really adorable and charming, really lovely suite of colorful, picturesque pieces. And in the middle, one of his best-known pieces, to the extent anything's known, best known by me, because I have to tell you about it. You get his 3 symphonic preludes to Oedipus Rex. And it's just an orchestral piece, and it's a beautiful work in 3 movements. It was the very first piece I ever played with the Johns Hopkins Symphony Orchestra when I was an undergrad. And I was really surprised that, the conductor pulled this out of her hat, but she did. And the reason was because I think, first of all, it's not difficult. It's not a difficult work to play. It's written for a very standard-sized symphony orchestra. The only percussion in it was me. I'm playing cymbals, suspended and crash cymbals, rather sparingly used. It has a wonderfully ancient, antique feel to it, similar to Respighi, but the music is far more austere in its coloration. It has a fast, slow, fast shape, and it's really, really lovely, I think. I just love the work. I had a great time playing it, and I wanted to hear more music by Pizzetti, but there just isn't very much. There's very, very little. There was something on Decca with Lamberto Gardelli, which has since been reissued on Eloquence, by the way. And there are a couple other things, but very, very little of his music is available. And so when this came out on Hyperion, I was very, very excited. I immediately went for it. And I was so happy I did, because it's very, very well done. It's beautifully recorded. The performances are all terrific. I mean, the Oedipus Preludes, of course, are not as fabulously played as the Johns Hopkins Symphony Orchestra did it, particularly the cymbal player. But I make allowances, and really, it's really just great. It's absolutely great. And it's a composer, it's one of those composers, you'll get a couple of his discs, then you forget about him. Not because he's not good. It's just because there isn't that critical mass of material that allows people to hear certain iconic works. Even Respighi, he did the Roman tone poems, There are certain things you know him by. And Pizzetti doesn't have that advantage. So as a result, people tend to forget about him. And I think that's sad, because it's beautiful. I really think, folks, that what we ought to do is have a section of our CD collections under just B for beautiful. And you could just stick all of those unusual composers there, all the one-shot wonders, the one-off people who otherwise wouldn't get any play. And so when you're looking for something to listen to, you just go to the beautiful section, and then you'll see this wonderful array of people who are far too little known, but who wrote magnificent music for us to enjoy. And Pizzetti was one of those. So I very, very strongly recommend that you give this a listen. And if you won't, I will, because it's one of my faves. I think it's just lovely. So thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me make the pitch for Pizzetti. Keep on listening, my friends. Take care.